I'm Anthony Wright, and I am your co-host on the Living Conversation with,
Adam Dietz, welcome to the conversation.
and we are here with our guest, Fran Bailey, who is a dancer turned healer. And we were talking before the break about how to kind of come back to ourselves from COVID and from social media. And I really appreciated what you had to say, Fran, about reconnecting with that child who found the dance in the barn. And her wisdom is still present and still loving. And um, one of the things that you have uh, listed in your points of study is the Enneagram. And um, you had studied with Deborah Uten
Mhm.
and talk to us a bit about how the Enneagram has been useful for you. And isn't the Enneagram also originally a Sufi construct?
Yeah.
So talk to
So
us a bit about the Enneagram, please.
so that's his name is Gurdjieff. He's Russian.
Uh-huh.
And what he did is studied movement all over the world, all these ethnic groups, and then choreographed one piece. And it was like a Sufi. So the unity of one, that we're all one. There's one person
Mhm.
in the middle of this circle or this choreography, and everybody else is doing certain movements simultaneously, but this one is spinning. So the concept and the idea is that we are one. We're either mind, heart, or body types, and that we all share all three of those. And it has gone through many, hands of change, and it's now more of a psychological concept where you either are a mind, there are three in each one. So you've got the body, 8, 9, 1, it's a circle. And then you've got the heart, which is 2, 3, 4. And then the head is uh, 5, 6, and 7.
And you're talking about Enneagram categories.
Yes, categories, which is it's in a circle. They're all diagrammed facing each or connected to each other. But we tend to move into, we navigate through one. So I'm a heart, so I navigate through my heart more than my head or my body. So the idea is that it's a study. Some people get really addicted to it, but it's a study, and I did that actually for myself so that I could be a better healer
All right.
and know the cues. And then, two, it helped me understand the human condition, that
Really?
how we navigate. So how we navigate what we see is part of how we process. So the
Okay.
process is of interest to me because that tells me sort of the story of your body, everything. And so my questions would be tend to work in that understanding what type they are.
Or where they
So
tend to reside, I would
yeah,
imagine.
where they tend to reside, right? Like the example I said about the head type. You don't ask them what they feel.
Right. Right. And then it comes to me to also ask, you've done quite a bit of study with the chakra system of
Mhm.
the Vedic chakra system. How does that work together with the Enneagram, please?
Mm, good
Because I
question.
mean, these are
That's
a set of tools,
yeah, there are a set
but
of tools.
you
So,
find utility through that.
right. So if let's just take the head type again. Um, so of course you're up in the intellectual sixth chakra, right? You're in the pattern of thought. So a six will either go towards fear or away from fear. Either going to have anxiety towards something, or they're going to, that kind of analogy, or they ask thousands of questions all the time. So with the head type, I will make more emphasis on clearing the head of thought attachments to thought, ideas, anxiety, or patterns of thought, so that they start extrapolating the idea and the energy around their head. And I say move it past the edge of your aura. That way the brain isn't going 1,000 minutes. So that way I can look, I say, now you come down through the chakra system to your first chakra and ground to the center of the earth. So they start beginning to get into their body rather than being out of their body and looking this way.
Yeah, that was a real important component for me. I was taught a number of years ago about doing a grounding core to the center of the earth, and I do that with my students, and that's tremendously useful. But I'm getting a sense that with your developed intuitive and visualization capacity, you're able to watch people in process and guide them from there. Is that right?
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Are you watching us right now?
Yeah,
Well, in natural conversation, I think. But
yeah, and
with your clients, I think this must be quite useful in guiding people across their developing energy field in a way that is not necessarily addressed by Western medicine.
so if you can think of that concept of like for instance, if I'm teaching with a group of people and maybe there's 6 people there and I'll pinpoint one person and I'll say, just watch this energy, watch where it's going. You know, the attachment is here, or stay grounded and in your body, feel your sit bones. And so in the group, everybody starts doing the same thing.
And I'm noticing that you are presupposing that people will be able to see it, whether they believe it or not, and they start to. That's quite powerful.
Yeah, it's pretty.
So
it's
continue,
pretty cool.
please.
So, when there's a group energy or when you expose something with that person, everybody will get the cue to do the same thing, right? To ground themselves. Then that's a collective energy in the room. Then I will channel the next, how do I say, the next phase of that hour that will bring in the energy that they all need.
Oh, sure.
So then it becomes an expansion, an expansion, an expansion, but they're not out of body, they're in body
With the grounding.
with the grounding.
And
So
their
then
awareness
the lessons come, you know, then they get information for
oh,
themselves individually without attaching to anybody else, even though so the group energy sets the tone for them to leave or see and then bring it in. See, feel, hear, know. Does that make
right.
sense?
It does. And I'm just getting a sense that in part of what you do as a facilitator is you hold a container and you structure the container with the presuppositions, but you stay the heck out of the way because that's,
Right.
more impactful than trying to think to impose on someone else what you think they ought to be doing. Now, Adam,
Right.
do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I feel like that's really profound. And two things come to mind. One is that for people who are stuck on the woo-woo factor still, like we, whether you're just in your own mind or you're in your feelings, you feel stuff. Like you're gonna be happy or angry or sad. That's life. You can't just get past that. And I think anyone who's in the, who's keeping this at arm's length, and who's being turned off by how we're talking about energy or body or chakras and stuff like that, just needs to realize you are a human being. You exist. You're going to be feeling certain things all the time. That's life. You can't get past that. You have to be able to break through those patterns. That's how you enhance your life. That's how you live a good life. So I'd like to open the door for everyone who might be a little hesitant on that to just realize that life is ups and downs, life is energies. We do need to work through those. That's why we're here in a lot of ways, right? That's the one thing that comes to mind. But the other is that when you were talking about the collective, that was so interesting to me because I can go many different directions with it, but the main thing I want to think about is talking about the zeitgeist, talking about the collective consciousness of the world. Anthony before brought
Oh,
into this show that, there's a lot of crap in the world right now, and we need to be like wastewater management people, helping sift through the crap and helping purify. I would wonder if you could say something to that as far as the overall zeitgeist. And the last thing I just would want to point out to that is we come from a lineage where we learn from s- our school was founded by a student of Sri Aurobindo who taught integral yoga. And his student who founded our grad school was named Haridas Chaudhary, who taught integral philosophy. But the integral yoga element felt like, as we're talking here, it feels like Sri Aurobindo type of vibes where he was trying to use yoga to help heal the world. And when we're talking about zeitgeist and talking about your process, could you just say something about how I'm sorry to be so long-winded. I hate
Okay,
when
it's
I
okay.
hate
You're
when
excited.
interviewers
No,
take
no,
over the
no.
interview.
Go.
But I would hope if you could say something about how your process, how you can imagine your process as healing the overall zeitgeist, maybe,
Um,
or how we could take your process and kind of imagine how it could help in a larger scale.
well, I think that having faith in those that are on their path to some sort of consciousness. So in my knowing, I know that there are many that are trying to get on a path. I know that. I can feel it. So the level of encouragement without apology, that's huge.
say that
People are,
again, please, and explain that a bit more.
so I think people in their self-talk are apologizing for where they are in their life.
Okay.
So I think that is the root cause of disconnect
And you're able to see that in the chakra system, I would imagine. Well,
immediately.
we have to take a short break. I'm Anthony Wright, and
Oh.
I am your co-host today on the Living Conversation
Adam Dietz.
and we are talking with our guest, Fran Bailey. And how can people contact you, Fran?
My website, franbaileyhealer.com. You can message me. I could do a free session. I do periodically. I do free meditations on Sundays, like every couple months. So keep a lookout for that. And I'm on Facebook and Instagram and
And that's
uh,
spelled Bailey is your last name.
correct.
Great. We'll take a short break and be right back. So stay tuned.